sometimes we're fixated on what a person is not providing or what they're doing that upsets us, and we're avoiding the fact that we don't even do those things for ourselves. The opposite of depression isn't happiness. The opposite of depression is expression. People are so solution-oriented. Men. They express love in a way that I want to give you the most efficient answer on how to fix this because I can't stand seeing you like this. Right. But for us, sometimes we're like, no, I just need to feel. So don't tell me don't cry. Don't tell me not to do something that helps me express emotion and helps me find relief. Tears are relief. You can provide relief to grief, but it doesn't go away. Your life just gets bigger around it. And so like that purpose that you feel like you're serving, that's where we start to feel the confidence.
How do I nicely tell people like, love you, sis, but you're not someone I'm able to prioritize in this season?
Being nice is it's cool and all, but like you're a kind person, and being kind to someone is telling them the truth.
So girls, before we dive in, I need your help. We are on a mission to get the Relationship Restored channel to 100,000 subscribers. And the best part is it's completely free for you, but it means the world to us. So if you're watching and loving the episodes, hit that subscribe button. Oh, and one more thing, I can't forget to mention our Relationship Restored online community. Inside, you'll find dedicated chat rooms, daily content, exclusive events, and retreats, all designed to help you build the best relationship with others and most importantly, with yourself. It's truly a place for the girls. So join today at relationshiprestored.com/community. Hey girls, it's Bre
and Cece,
and you're tuned into For the Girls. Today's guest is an Under Armour athlete, a mental health advocate, and a DC Golden Glove champion. Yes, you heard that right. DC Golden Glove champion. Okay. We are going to be talking about all things mental health and fitness. So I want to pass the mic over to my girl, Monica Jones, so you can kind of just share with us like how you got into the mental health and fitness space.
Thank you, darling. I'm so excited to be here,
We're
y'all.
so excited to have you.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, really, I'm just a girl. But life has taught me through all the trials and tribulations that the thing that's always going to pull me out, whether it's the times that I've struggled with body dysmorphia, with disordered eating, or just with feeling the bulk of anxiety and depression that I felt in my adulthood, is that community is everything. And so as I've been going through my journey, I've been feeling more and more called to speak to community and share. And, you know, sometimes people are like, I don't want to share my issues. But for me, it was like the more that I did share, the more connection, the less I felt alone, and I felt even more called to do the work. So I would blend in creating content, showcasing how I was working on my own personal fitness. And then I started coaching group fitness. So all of it just created this incredible divine career for me where I was able to be my fullest self and still see the reward of making an impact in community. So I started what's called Hustle and Flow, 8 weeks to hormonal harmony, and it helps women who have PMDD, PCOS, and other reproductive challenges find that harmony and balance within their hormones and live a higher quality of life.
I love that.
I
love that because it's so prevalent nowadays, especially with I mean, I think this whole non-toxic living is like a new trend that kind of people are jumping onto, which it shouldn't be a trend. We should be living as non-toxic as possible because of how much hormone disruption we have from different things that we're putting in our bodies, on our bodies, or around us. But, you know, I love that you're focusing in on women who struggle with these types of illnesses and health problems because we're seeing it more and more. And I know that a lot of women just need a resource to kind of like reach out to and be like, I don't know who to turn to. I don't know who else is struggling with this. How do I get past this season of my life where it feels like it's just consuming me?
Yeah. And it exacerbates all of the other symptoms of other things that we might have. ADHD, whether we're struggling with anxiety and depression, where we are hormonally is going to be the driver of the level of intensity that we feel certain emotions and that we experience certain symptoms.
Yeah.
So all of it is mental health is at the root of all of that. And just being able to understand ourselves better, to feel better connected, to feel like there's a safe space to be in, an empowering space, that's where community comes into play. And my best friend and I have a company called HLS Collective. It's the Healthy Lifestyle Collective. And my contribution to the collective is nurturing the community and just making sure whatever the conversation is about is one that's able to be carried out between our events, because that's when people feel that loneliness or need to fill that void.
Cece brought up social media and mental health is talked about. The word is thrown around so much. Can you tell us and share what mental health actually means to you?
Honestly, mental health is physical health. It is, your physical health is the manifestation, whether it is within your own internal organs or it is how you're treating other people. It is a manifestation of your internal dialogue, of your thoughts, and of how your environment affects you. Are you a reactive person? Are you a self-aware person? Are you contemplative? That's all mental health. It becomes physical. And so when people, you can absolutely put them into their own buckets and categories just to make sure that the information is a little bit more digestible, but they go together real bad, real bad. And I don't want to use the word bad when I describe the state of people's mental health nowadays, but it's definitely something that needs to be better advocated for and better exercised regularly, just like our bodies.
Do you think people are in a space that they're able to recognize when they're in an unhealthy state? Like what have you seen?
It's telling when they are.
But what about like the self-awareness? Do you think people have the self-awareness to realize like, I'm not healthy right now. Like I need help. I don't really know what's wrong with me. I don't know where to turn, but I know I need the help.
Yeah. I think randomness begets randomness. What happens when you decide one day that you're like, and I know we'll talk about boundaries because they always come up, but one day when you're like, I'm fed up. I can't do any more of this. This hurts. I'm at my lowest point. I can't do it with this person. I can't do it with this job, whatever it is. And you feel that. What do you do about it? Have you practiced doing that thing regularly? And if you haven't, what's going to happen is you will self-soothe or you'll find something that distracts you. And then it'll come back. It's cyclical. And so it is telling because you can see it in the people that you care about, or you can see the way that a person is acting.
Yeah.
And you can tell whether they do work on themselves or not.
Yeah.
But for that person themselves, most people's self-awareness is either deeply rooted in self-judgment or it is avoidant. And then obviously that becomes how they treat the rest of their lives.
I've seen in one of my good friends a situation where I can see that like mentally she needs help, right? She needs to do some things to just feel better about her life, to feel more confident about how she appears to the world, to just feel better in her relationships, both romantic and in friendships. And it's difficult because what I've noticed is people who struggle with mental health, when they go so long without getting help, it becomes their norm. And so they just think that this is what life is. Life is miserable. Life is hard. Life and the world is out to get me. And it's a struggle because from a person who, is very self-aware and who does work a lot on mental health, you don't know what to say sometimes because you don't want to make someone feel less than. You don't want them to feel judged because then will they feel comfortable sharing, moving forward. So my question for you is, as a girlfriend, whether you're in a romantic relationship or it is just like a platonic friendship or a family member, how can you make that first step of letting someone know that you think they need help, or by suggesting, that they get help? Like, what are some tips that you have for that? Like, how do you address that person?
I would say active listening is number one.
Okay.
Right. So when you can practice with a person that you, whether you care about them or not as much, and it's more of a, work situation, you want to actively listen. And when you respond, you want to make sure that they understand this is what you said. This is what I heard and took away from what you said, because that way it's factual. Like, did you say that out of your mouth or not? I'm just repeating it to make sure that you understand. I heard you say this, and this is how I feel and how I'm reacting to it. Now, once you're actively listening to them, it creates a little bit more of a safe space of truth. And then you can ask them, hey, am I wrong for assuming that you're not in a good place or not feeling good about yourself or feeling good about XYZ? And once they confirm that, then you can say, how can I help? What would you like from me? Do you just want me to listen? Is this something that you just need to get off your chest? Or would you like to hear what I think you should do? Because I love you and I care about you. And it's not only the fact that you're hurting, but I hurt when I see you that way. And it's really create the safe space in the conversation. Sometimes, and this is one thing for me that I had to learn about people that I'm around, is some people are so solution oriented.
Yes.
Men. No, I'm
my husband. I was about to say, girl,
they're so solution oriented.
I have a story for you after this.
They express love in a way that I'm going to give you the most efficient answer on how to fix this because I can't stand seeing you like this.
Right.
But for us, sometimes we're like, no, I just need to feel. So don't tell me don't cry. Don't tell me not to do something that helps me express emotion and helps me find relief. Tears are relief. And instead, someone who says, what would you like from me? Because I have something for you, but I want to give you what you need in this moment. And then we can work towards what's needed to actually fix, which is work.
That advice is so good because it takes away the judgment, but it is a way to show up in love and with support, and it allows you to put the ball in the other person's court and really gauge what they need from you after that. So I love that. And Cece, I know you have a story for us.
Girl, so that absolutely hits home for me because last year in 2024 was my hardest year ever mentally. I was depressed all year. It was the deepest depression I think I've ever been in my life. And so naturally, when I'm home and I'm talking to my husband about everything that I'm going through, to your point, he wants to help me solve the problem. And I didn't need a solution to my problems because I'm the type of person that I have to come to my own solution. I have to ride my own journey and experience it and navigate that on my own and determine what's best for me. I don't need anyone else to tell me that. And that's actually something that kind of pushes me away a bit too from wanting to express. And so we came up with this agreement that it's like whenever someone is confiding in the other with me, my husband, it's like, do you want me to just listen or do you want me to respond? And I would even preface it of like, I need to tell you something, but I'm just venting. I just need you to listen because there was a lot of venting last year because I was just such a bad place. And that really helped us because that also brought us closer together as a couple because I felt safe with him again and being able to just express what I was going through and not being like, is he going to judge me or is he going to try to fix my problem or whatever? It was like, I just need you to listen and hear me out. And then when the time comes, I will seek out your advice because I love his advice. He's my coach. Like he really is. He's a sounding board for me, but I don't need it all the time. And so that's something that is like, I would definitely recommend for other women is even though they want to confide in their partner or in a friend, maybe you preface it like, I'm not in a good space. I want to tell you something, but I just want you to listen. I just want you to listen. Because you're right. We don't always need someone telling us how we should fix our problems. Sometimes that's not helpful. It even may make us spiral even more.
Exactly. Like you might feel like I'm constantly trying to run scenarios where I find a solution. What I don't want to do is come to a person that I know could supply me with some emotional support or some comfort and then have to go through the same spiral again. But how beautiful is it that in your partnership, you going through a really dark chapter has increased the amount of positive outcomes of interactions with you and your husband. That's it. It's tough because you go through that season and it's like, why is God pulling me through this right now? That's why. Because now your marriage is stronger. Now those relationships, that communication, like, absolutely. And sometimes it's like, damn, planning things isn't fun, but the freedom that it brings to have structures and procedures in love is actually really beautiful.
Absolutely.
I love that you brought up structures because the next thing I want to talk about is how physical fitness and nutrition plays a role in mental health because a lot of, we see this every year, top of the year, 2020, or not 2024, but every year, January, Q1, everyone is so motivated and they start these routines and they buy the gym memberships and they start to find structure to become the best version of themselves. But normally by Q2, that falls off and they're starting over again. And they're like, next year, you know? And so talk to us a little bit about how both physical fitness and nutrition affects mental health and what tips you have for anyone who is struggling to create structure and routine in their lives that knows that they want it, but maybe they're just struggling to commit.
Right. I mean, we can talk all day about the benefits, right? But when it comes down to it, I'll talk about the pillars of just self-efficacy. If you can create a routine that's approachable, it could be something as simple as I just make sure that I leave my walking shoes by the door. And if I want to leave this place, I'm going to think about taking a 15-20 minute walk at some point in the day. And what that does is just creates a time where you honor yourself, and that time can grow. And it can become, oh, I could make 20 minutes to go for a walk. Now I can definitely create 30 to 40 minutes to get to a class or get to the gym. But it's really just crawling before you walk and just creating something that's approachable. So once you start exercising that, continuing to do that more, it increases your confidence because you created self-trust. A lot of times we doubt before we even take one step.
Right.
And all we got to do is make sure that we can take that one step, and then we can do it again, do 2, 3, 4. And then that's when that domino effect happens. We start to gain that confidence, and confidence lets us know I'm capable. Not only am I capable, but I hold value. And now that I hold value, I might want to be seen in different spaces or take part in different spaces, like classes, like community events. And that's when you start to align with people, and the community pulls you in to the point where you're just so obsessed with spending time around the right people, doing the right things for yourself, where you're like, this is my lifestyle now. This is where I belong. So it's a beautiful snowball effect that comes from that pillar of self-efficacy, a pillar of confidence. And then we talk about the physical effects of it. So what happens when we exercise is we release those endorphins. We get those endorphins, our serotonin boosts, and then our circadian rhythm starts to shift. So it's like, oh, I've done something that makes me tired. Now when it's time to go to sleep, I go to sleep. Like I'm actually tired, and I sleep through the night. Then when I wake up in the morning, my body's like, oh, it's time to hydrate. It's time to do those things. The body becomes more it starts to crave more of the healthier things. And you have a better language within your body. There's a better understanding of, oh, I don't want chocolate. I want water. I don't need something sweet and crunchy. I need protein.
Right.
And so you start to make those decisions that you've been avoiding because it sounds not fun, just literally based off what your body's naturally telling you.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I think maybe holds some people back from living a healthy lifestyle and just being truly in a well state mentally and physically is like, it just seems daunting. Like all of the things. It's like
we're already working hard.
You know,
life is hard.
Like life is hard. I have to, you know, people got to work, people have to take care of kids, people take care of themselves, take care of their spouse. It's like, I'm overwhelmed. Like I'm overstimulated. And now it's like to add something else or to even change yourself fundamentally, that can be a daunting task. You know? And so what would be like some key things, maybe some non-negotiable, easy things that someone could start doing that you would probably, they would feel a shift almost instantly in their mood and like their energy. And, you know, should we be on a carnivore diet? Should we be vegans? What type of supplements should we be taking? Do we need to work out 4 times a week? Like, what are some things that you would say are some non-negotiables for people to be in the best state possible for them, or at least start to get into that space?
Have proof. Like what you're thinking and your mood are not enough. You need to journal or track how you're feeling based on the actions you're taking. Obviously, we hope to know what we value and know what we believe in and take action based off of that. But sometimes it gets real random in lives. And rather than just say, oh, that was good and move on from it, we have to celebrate it. Even the smallest of wins, make a practice of celebrating them, because then that positive association becomes less daunting. It's like, well, that actually felt good. Yeah. You're going to do work no matter what. Life is work, and you have to choose your hard. My hard is either going to be, I'm going to train for a marathon and feel that fulfillment of doing a tough task for this many months and this many miles, this many hours of committing to myself, running by myself, literally meditating while moving. Or I'm going to choose the hard where I'm on the couch and my heart literally hurts because there's plaques sitting on it. Like I am overstimulated. And then the best thing that I do for myself is sit down and just disassociate.
Yeah.
You know, you have to choose your hard. And when you do, you have to celebrate the fact that you chose that way so that you can continue making it a practice of choosing. So we have an app, literally, we have a wellness to-do list, whether it's hitting your calories and macronutrients, going and doing your cardio, resistance training, and having a good recovery practice. You check them off.
Yeah.
And what happens is when we do check-ins, or if one of our members wants to look in and check in on how they're doing, the data is there.
Yeah.
And it correlates. What's your level of compliance to your plan? Most people are finding that they don't even need to be at 50% compliance to achieve results.
That's right.
And it's like, the proof is there.
Yeah.
Your picture is there. Your picture from a month ago is there. Your picture from today is there. Where's the difference? Is your smile bigger? Are you seeing a shape? Like, those are the types of things that we don't see from just stepping on a scale and being like, well, today I'm heavier.
Absolutely.
Today I'm lighter. You know,
one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone says that they don't have the time. Like, they're saying they're so unhappy, they're so miserable, but I just don't have the time to work out. I don't have the time to eat right. I don't have the time. And I'm like, but you have the time to walk around every day feeling miserable and complaining because
or scrolling Instagram.
It's like, even if you just document, like I did this fun thing with myself because I was just curious, like, where's all my time go? Because I would end up every day saying like, there's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm like curious. What am I doing every day? And so I kept a time journal, and literally every hour of the hour, I marked down what I was doing. And then I looked at it over a course of a week, and I found rooms and spaces where I could do something different that would make my day feel more productive, feel longer. And so again, for all my girls listening, if you are unhappy, if you don't like the way you look, if you don't like the way you feel, and if you say you don't have enough time, yet you wake up every day and you continue to spend time feeling miserable, you have to find the time. There is time. I think even what Mon had said, the proof, like the journaling thing, it's so helpful to see, like whether it's in an actual notebook, whether it's in a iPad, your MacBook, notes, you have to know what you're putting your time and energy into to start making those very small shift changes and building that confidence. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about, relationships and mental health and like how they affect the people around you, like the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you show up in the world, how it affects your friendships, your family members, your dating life, romantic relationships. What have you seen with the women that you've worked with who are struggling with mental health? What have you seen in correlation to their relationships, and what things do you see happen and shift after they address the different things that they're struggling with?
Good question.
It's tough because I have so much love for my clients, but it's, as a coach, you got to give the tough love. And a lot of that comes from, sometimes we're fixated on what a person is not providing or what they're doing that upsets us, and we're avoiding the fact that we don't even do those things for ourselves. It's an expectation that that person is to provide it, but a lot of that comes from rom-coms. It doesn't come from you ever experiencing it, or it comes from of what you've actually experienced, you projecting that onto yet another person, or not giving them the chance to show you who they really are. And so it is a necessity for all of my clients to go through that journaling process, not just for what are you doing in a day that affects your physical health, but how do you actually feel about yourself today? A good question that I like for them to ask themselves is, am I living to thrive, or am I living to be stable? Like, you operate in a very different way when you treat life that way, when you treat your relationships that way. And so, all of us at our core, we have desires. We want to feel like we have a sense of belonging. We want to feel like we're able to express in some way. We want to feel like we've connected in some way, whether it's physically, emotionally. And that doesn't always have to be in a sexual relationship or a romantic relationship. It can really be something that we do within ourselves. And so we just add those practices onto it. But the trend really is that if I find that a client is having a hard time with their health in some way, shape, or form, then it does manifest in the relationships. And the more that they work on themselves, the more the expectation increases for their person to be doing that too.
Yes.
And that not just their romantic person, like their mom, their sister, their cousin, everybody. It exposes who's not doing the work, and then it gives a great opportunity for further connection to be made. Are you sharing your wins? You know, are you expressing that you hope that they can have those wins too, rather than saying you need to work on this? It's like, you know, I feel really good about myself, and I just want that for all of us.
Yeah. I actually want us to kind of share, for us, the three of us, what have been our mental health struggles, battles, and what we've done to kind of work on those things. I want to start with you, Cece, because 2024 was a tough year for you, and I was able to witness it all. And you've had good days, bad days, everything in between. But I think going into this year, you really had like a aha moment of like, okay, I feel good. You literally said out of your mouth, I have never felt this good about just myself and my life. So if you could kind of share what things you struggled with and what you did to work on those.
Yeah. So, you know, 2024 was difficult for many reasons. A big part of it was my job that I had, because I had been wanting to leave that job since 2016. And I was in corporate consulting. It was very demanding. I worked a lot of hours, and every time I found myself trying to step away from it, I got a bonus. I got a raise. And it's like, you know, they just kept the carrot on the stick. Like, look at this. Like, here's some more money. Or
how convenient.
You know? And but then what came with that was also more work. I had more clients, more projects to manage, more people to manage. And so it was too much. On top of that, I also have a toddler. I have a 3-year-old that I had during COVID, which was a whole nother mental low point in my life, being isolated, pregnant with a toddler, with an infant. But as far as last year, it was just, I felt myself being overwhelmed constantly and overstimulated. I was working all the time. My daughter was at home with me. So I worked from home. My mom would come over and help with my daughter, but and my mom was a fantastic help. However, I had to manage my mom too. So I was managing the house, managing the people at work. I had a team of 120 people that I was managing. I cooked everything. I cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was trying to find some time to work out, but could never find the time. You know what I'm saying? I was just in a really bad space. I did not recognize myself. I was a hermit, and I'm not a hermit. I'm an extroverted person. I know my human design. I fuel through being around other people. It's a necessity for me. I was not leaving the house. So it was just compounding. And I felt finally in the middle of 2024, I had reached my lowest point. I was crying almost every single day. My attitude towards all the people around me was I was irritable. I was aggravated. I was bitchy, quite frankly, to everybody. I pulled away from my friends. My friends, I didn't talk to them for months on end. They didn't know what was going on with me. I was just kind of I ghosted.
I was like, Cece doesn't like me anymore.
I ghosted, man. I was not in a good space. And so I really had to figure out what I was going to do next. I can either stay down and be miserable with this job, or I can try to level myself up and become the person that I had always envisioned for myself. My husband is super supportive. He had been telling me to, excuse my language, to I'll just say F this job. That's his mantra for me. Anytime I had a client or whatever that I was always bitching about, he was like, girl, F that job, quit. And I was like, no, the money, blah, blah, blah. Cause I was making good money. He was like, girl, F that job. We're fine. I got us. And I was like, no, until I couldn't anymore. So I think what really helped me to get onto the brighter side of where I am now, first thing first, I went to therapy. Again, because I tried therapy before and I didn't really see a benefit from it. I was like, I got to try it again. So I went to therapy again. I went through 3 different therapists until I found the one that I actually liked. And she was amazing. Went to therapy, started moving my body again. That was a big factor. I started working out again. I joined a gym that I loved.
You look amazing.
And I'm a gym person again now. Because I used to be a gym person. I used to do bodybuilding in my early 20s. Like I was a gym girl.
Yeah.
And I lost that. So I became a gym person again. I went to therapy. There were a few critical books that I read. One was called Design Your Life by like these two Stanford professors. And that really helped me to kind of rediscover myself. And then the other thing was I quit that job. I quit the job and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to allow my husband to retire me and we're going to figure it out.
Surrender.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, girl. Monica, when I tell you that was the best decision I ever made, I was like, why didn't I quit this job earlier? Okay. Because at the end of the day, my husband, we had already talked about it. We're set. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have, the support that I have in him. And now I'm able to actually do things that fuel me. And I'm not like just sitting behind a computer, working on software development projects that I don't care about. Okay. Like talking to these people that I don't want to talk to. I don't want to talk to you, Bob.
Say with your chest.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of that. And also I love that you said community is like one of the biggest things that you can do, because I think I was spending more time around these corporate people that I did not want to talk to. They aggravated me. They made me more stressed out. And now I can actually be around people that I'm inspired by, that I actually want to have conversations with, that actually motivate me to go and do better, to get cute, look good, feel good, like all the things.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to touch on something that you said. You said that you went through 3 different therapists before you found one. And I think so many people give up on therapy because they try one time and they don't get the results that they were hoping for, or it wasn't comfortable. But it's just like the perfect pair of shoes. Like you got to try on a few until you find that one that fits like a glove. So I'll be kind of quick with mine because I do want to hear Monica's. But I feel like I've had 3 main struggles pretty much I would say like within like the last 3 years. And number 1 is complaining. I am a natural complainer, and I don't want to say I'm a natural complainer. I complain or can come off as complaining a lot because I just am a outward thinker. So like I say what I'm thinking.
Good correction.
So although it's like when I'm happy as hell and everybody knows I'm happy and I'm like jumping off of the ceilings. But when I am upset about something or when something's not making me happy, I will talk about it out loud, and so it comes across as complaining. And when you live with a husband who is very optimistic and happy all the time, it's like, bro, he's always like, why
are you always in a good mood?
Like it brings his mood down. And so he's had to address that a few times and let me know like, hey, you're complaining. It doesn't make me feel good. The other thing is overthinking. So I have this spiral way of thinking, and it's great when I'm in a creative space because I'll have one idea and then before I know it, I've created this whole magical thing where I'm like, I'm a genius. But when I'm talking about life or just like something as simple as like, oh man, I didn't make it to the gym today, then that goes into this and this. And then before I know, I'm at the bottom of a barrel, like my life is terrible. Right. And Dre's like, what are you talking about? Like, and it takes some time for you to realize like, okay, I'm tripping. Let me pull it together. And then the last thing is for sure the perfectionist in me. I am my biggest and worst critic. So I am just very hard on myself, and the grace that I give other people, I don't always give myself. And so I had to work on that. Now, the things that I would say that have helped, because these are still things that I am dealing with. The very first one with the complaining or, making the mood of my household down because I'm saying things out of frustration or making puffing sounds, is that I have to remind myself of how blessed and fortunate I am. And I think sometimes no matter what we have, right, you could live in a box, you could live in a mansion, but the way that you allow your perspective to determine how you feel about yourself and the outlook that you have on your life and the possibilities that are out there, it all is self-chosen. And so I have done things like, we just went recently to a St. Jude conference where it's like, eye-opening. It's just so like, wow, there are people out here who are fighting to live, like literally something that has nothing to do with them, this cancer or, you know, this disease. And so it's like, it puts things in a perspective. And although I would say this isn't probably the healthiest solution to not complaining, when I feel bad about my life, I'll do things like watch a murder documentary, or I know it's so bad.
No,
but
that's what the brain is wired that way.
Yeah. My brain literally is like, you were complaining and feeling upset about an email. The email is what made you feel so down about your day. This person lost their child to a kidnapper, and it snaps me out of it. And I'm like, I have to make the most of today. And then with the overthinking and spiraling, I really have to, you know, use my husband as a support and as a sounding board. And I have literally said to him, hey, when you notice that I'm doing X, Y, and Z, can you please do this? It'll reinforce to me that I made a decision to have you do this so that I can stop this way of thinking and get out of it a lot quicker than if I was just to like deal with it on my own. And then with the grace thing, I've just told all my friends and my family, like, hey, this is something I've been struggling with. Like, if you ever hear me talking bad about myself or, you know, just being the perfectionist, just please support me in that. And like, you can talk to me however you want, because I'll receive it. Just be like, girl, stop, you tripping, you know? But those are things that, you know, have helped. But ultimately it is setting routines, having structure, and then doing daily journaling, literally writing things down, just creating checklists, even if it's just like meditate today, or like tell yourself how much you love yourself, or like writing down my blessings. Like I'll just write down like my husband, my home, my family, my friends, you know, my influence, because, you know, social media is something that sometimes I take for granted. And it's like, you have a platform, you have a voice, you should be appreciative of that and use it. And that really helps, is just writing those things down. So Man, I'm excited to see what things you have struggled with in the past and what you've done to really work on those.
Yeah, thank y'all for sharing. I was really excited about coming today because I knew that we were going to be able to connect on a different level. And nowadays that is so valuable.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm hearing is that you've embraced truth and honesty more than anything. I think that sometimes we avoid that. And then same CC, I hear that like you've embraced routine and also allowed help, right? And for me, I think that it was a combination of both, but two of my biggest struggles that I've had in my adulthood, which calls upon childhood, of course, is, you know, in 23, actually, when I won the Golden Gloves, I was basically knee deep in my antidepressant journey. I started therapy late 22. I have co-founded a couple of brands before in the past. And if anyone out there is an empath and a creative, you know and understand that you deeply identify with the things that you create. And as a co-founder of this one fitness brand, I had a very hard time with not having ownership of that. And the fight for ownership was one that really involved a lot of, I was battling a force that knew how to manipulate situation and make me feel like I wasn't providing as much value that made me worthy of that equity and ownership. And it just so happened that the others that were not worthy of that equity and ownership were also people of color. And we brought a lot of culture and flavor and beauty into it. And now looking back on it, it's all for a lesson, right? But for me, making a departure from that journey and other journeys that I had in co-founding brands and creating communities and nurturing them, that currency is not something, and we can talk about it all day, it's not something that's embraced the same as bringing in dollars and cents. And so for me, I took the step back, decided to make a change, and started doing therapy. Once I left there, it was emancipating. It felt so good. But once you start that journey of therapy, and you got a good one, it starts to really highlight and bring to the surface other things that are really less than savory in your life or in your relationships. And so I went through that journey. It started to feel really good to establish positive practices. I became a little bit more capable of getting up and doing things. I was very much slumped, ADHD, stuck and depressed and anxious on the couch. And I would still be highly functional, still create content, still get up and work out, but that feeling of fulfillment wasn't there. I was really battling grief. And a lot of us, you know, whether it's loss of a person or loss of a relationship, loss of an identity, that grief will linger until you decide to embrace and acknowledge it and show gratitude for it, and then allow yourself to move forward. And, you know, get into your cocoon and break out and become something new. So I was training for Golden Gloves, and I was like, okay, I feel like I've got some good coping mechanisms, self-understanding. I really want to acknowledge my ADHD. I feel like I'm frozen in so many times in the day. And so I spoke to my therapist, and I spoke to another nurse practitioner. I cannot remember off the top of the head the actual website that I went through, but I spent hundreds of dollars speaking to this woman every few weeks to get on a medication. I ended up getting on a medication called Wellbutrin and working my way up in a dosage. When I did my actual like consultation and we did the evaluation, she's like, you scored high for ADHD. You, just like they said in college, you have ADHD. She's like, however, you scored very high for anxiety and depression as well. And she was like, in order to address one, you've got to address the other. And I was like, okay. So she recommended that medication.
Okay.
And so I got on the medication, and I spoke about this on social. Getting onto medications like that alter your hormonal makeup, it can be a very hard, eye-opening, and just really emotional experience.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm getting on that medication. I'm also fighting girls that are like twice my size and like getting beat up every other week to train for this fight. So it was like I was pushed to the brink of like really being like, do I want to live this? Do I want to live life? Because why does everything hurt so bad?
Right.
And I was also in a relationship, which I think just at that point, both of us, it had been outgrown. We were not growing together. We tried to, which I could definitely give credit to that. Towards the end, we both had therapists and, different practices, but it just didn't work out. What the biggest problem was my environment wasn't changing, but I was changing. So it's like going to a school where you've already learned all those things and you show up every single day and they keep trying to teach you something different. They try to teach you the opposite of what it is that you're already on a track to try and learn and grow out of. And so I really needed to change my environment. But when God uproots you and takes you out of that, it's so hard. You keep going back to it because you're like, oh, this is familiar. Like, I don't think I can leave this. And then it hurts worse because you're like, I just keep hurting myself at this point. It's not the other person's fault. It's me not making the decision. So that was one of the hardest battles that I've gone through. Physically came out with a win, but I still was like, dang, I just spent the last like 6 months working really hard, and I think I was asleep the whole time. I was a zombie through the accomplishments, through the heart, all of it. I just became so just desensitized and just not myself, So it was a really hard battle, but I went through getting up in the medication. Then I started a medication for ADHD, and then I wanted it to be non-stimulant. And that went well for like 6 weeks, and then it went terrible.
What happened?
I was getting like really bad dizziness, nausea, migraines, stomach upset. So then I had to get myself off that medication while you're dealing with PMDD and like different hormonal things. So I spoke about my journey getting up onto that medication, dropping that medication, getting on a different medication for ADHD, all while being on this hopefully steady dosage of the antidepressant. And I felt a huge calling to talk about it because there were a lot of people that ended up getting on that medication as well. And they're like, am I crazy? Like, why, it goes well and then it doesn't. And so there's a lot to be said about choosing whether you want to be on medication, whether you want that kind of help, and deciding if that's something you want to keep doing forever.
Right.
So I made the conscious decision, hey, I'm not doing this more than a year. I know that I want to holistically change my lifestyle, and I want to feel like I'm capable of living, experiencing all emotions, and still having a quality life. So I got off of the medication within a year. But the most recent stretch with anxiety and depression for me, and I'll say community pulled me through that. Absolutely. But even more recently, I was talking to another friend about this, but the opposite of depression is not actually happiness. The opposite of depression is expression. And
can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah.
The opposite of depression isn't happiness. The opposite of depression is expression.
And how does someone express them, like expression through what? Or
you find it. You find where you find relief, right? Complaining is relief.
Okay.
It just depends on how much you're going to allow yourself before you start tracking into solutions.
Well, yeah, there's so many different ways you can express yourself. There's healthy and
drawing, dancing. You notice, like, I was a dancer at one point in time. I stopped dancing. I got real sad.
Right.
It's like, you can dance in your living room. It's okay to do that. But when we suppress our need to express, that's where depression comes from. Yeah. Boom.
Like, I'm like,
right?
Yes. That makes sense.
It's honestly like, it has to do with like your truth. Cause you had said like, Bre, you're exploring like your truth essentially. And when we express ourselves, it's like us being our rarest, most authentic form of us through different outlets.
There's so much going on inside of us. Bodily functions, emotions, molecules, like they need to be released. And so for me, when I decided to break up with my coach / partner of almost 5 years, I had an identity death. I was like, oh my gosh, does anyone in the boxing community give a crap about me without this identity, without being the champion, without being these things? But if I'm not, the sweat girl, I am still on the #1 fitness app for women in the world. For boxing workouts.
Yeah.
And once that contract was over, I was like, who am I? Like, do I matter?
Right.
And so I stopped speaking. I stopped doing as much expressing. I wasn't coaching. I didn't have any outlet for any of that energy. And it was just this cycle of constantly second guessing myself. What can I do? People used to tell me I'm a star, and like now I'm nothing. Like it just really ate me alive. And coming back to making sure that I had a really solid relationship with God, my prayer, my practice each day, making sure that I expressed to someone in some way, did silly things, like allowed myself to just open up more. That was the key to getting back into the world, making more money and doing the things that I really needed to feel that fulfillment as a person.
You mentioned like identity, and both Cece and I, the biggest transitions that we've had in 2024 was I retired my business. She retired from her corporate job. And I had a sense, and you could talk to this too, Cece. I don't know if you experienced this, but I had a major identity crisis of being like, and I think the thing that made it so hard was like right after I did it, I was in so many rooms with so many impressive people who were like, so what do you do?
Yes.
And I'm like, what do I say now?
Yes.
Because although, I retired my business to focus on our Relationship Restored brand full time. And even something that I hadn't thought about was like, okay, technically I'm the COO of this company and I own it. It's a brand, but like, how do you explain to someone when they say like, what do you do? That I'm like, hi, I'm just like a full-time content creator. I don't like, what do I say? Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom with no kids. Like, it's great over here. So it was like this thing where I had told myself that if I let my business go, I didn't know who I was. And I think the only thing that made me actually commit to walking away from my business was finding out that I was pregnant. When I found out like, oh, okay, well, now I don't just have to think about me. I have to think about like this little person and like making sure I'm healthy and I'm like mentally in a great space. And because my business was taking up so much of my mental capacity, I was like, you know what? If me and my husband are on the same page with this, and if this is something that he feels will be good for me, I need to just take this and just see what the next chapter looks like. We don't have to figure it all out today, but I'll grieve my identity the same way that I ended up grieving my miscarriage and all the things. And so it takes some time to wrap your mind around. But at the end of the day, our identity is what we say it is. And our identity is what we choose for it to be. How you show up in the world, how you put together, your title, like it's really up to you. And as long as you find ownership and you honor that, then what everybody else has to think,
Yeah.
So is that something that you struggled with too when you were leaving your job?
I mean, you literally like took the words out of my mouth because, especially like in the DMV area, everyone around here works and they all want to know what else you do. Like what value do you bring?
Sometimes they really
don't care and they're just genuine good people, but sometimes they're just like, what value do you bring to this conversation?
Yeah.
And so one thing that I also struggled with was when people asked me, so what do you do? It was probably like a month after I had quit, I still told people that I was a consultant. And I wasn't a consultant anymore.
It's just less complicated.
You know, because I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, what am I just going to tell them like, oh, I just take care of my daughter, which is not a just take care of my daughter.
Yeah.
Like,
no, anyone who knows.
Knows, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I was so insecure about just saying like, oh, I'm a housewife or whatever. I didn't even know. I didn't have the words to say, like, what do I do? So I was definitely very insecure about that for a very long time. I didn't really get secure about saying I am a house executive, which is what I like to call myself. I'm a house executive. I didn't like saying that until like 2 months after I had quit my corporate job.
Yeah.
Because I was still like, I just wanted to feel like, what value can I bring to this conversation if people only see me as a housewife? But I do everything, like, except for have a 9-to-5 job now. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm exploring entrepreneur.
Plenty of things.
And let's just say this. Cece, today I asked her, I said, hey girl, can you bring some extra coffee with you? Because, you know, if our guests want it, I only drink decaf. She goes, sure, I drink mushroom coffee. So hopefully they like that. But I'm like, it's stuff like that where
I would love mushroom coffee.
She has literally been exploring like holistic living and just diving deep into all things her, anything.
AF.
Yeah.
I'm so granola. Everything in my house is non-toxic. I'm very holistic. I make my own body butters. I am like diving deep into like curing whatever illnesses I have within my body, because I also am very sick often. I have a lot of inflammation in my body, so I want to be in the best space mentally and physically. Like, that's my only goal for this year, is to be in the best space I can be mentally and physically, and that's all I want to do. And that's what I started telling people too. Like, so what do you do? I'm figuring out how to be in the best space I can be for myself. You know, it's like
inspiring.
I had to redesign who I saw myself and the value that I saw that I brought into the world. Because I used to think it was only like me and my intellect from my job. But now I'm like, no, girl, I'm fabulous. I have a story. I know that there's other women just like me who are overwhelmed. There's so many overwhelmed, overworked, and overstimulated moms, especially in this area. No one talks about it. Everyone is like just surviving. And I'm like, how can we stop surviving and start thriving?
Yes.
And so, I absolutely had an identity crisis. And I'm still figuring out who I am. And I'm unapologetic about it. Because honestly, honey, I'll probably switch her up about 10 more times.
And I like that.
You know?
I like that. I mean, we all relate here at this table for that reason. But like, one huge thing is that grief does not go away. It's not, you can provide relief to grief, but it doesn't go away. Your life just gets bigger around it. And so like that purpose that you feel like you're serving, that's where we start to feel the confidence in the things we do. There has to be a practice, and we have to keep practicing, celebrating what we do and how that serves us well, and then how it serves others well. But it has to be self first.
Absolutely.
The identity thing is, I mean, it's constant, especially if you're involved in social media, because identity seems so certain for everyone.
What does your bio say? What do you put in the bold space? How do I make sure that when people come to my page, they're like, oh, this is great and I want more of it? It goes back to the overthinking. I just had a million thoughts right now.
Same. I actually did too. I was like, one thing I forgot to mention earlier about what we did to kind of help get us over our depression was, the first thing I did was I got off Instagram. I deleted Instagram, deleted TikTok, deleted even YouTube. Like, I took a complete cleanse and detox from social media.
How many times did you go to like open the app and it just wasn't there? You're like,
oh,
what have I been doing with my time?
Literally hundreds. And it took me like probably like a few weeks to almost like maybe like a month and a half to like kind of break out of that natural like, oh, it's gone. But I'm telling you, once I got through that, I was so clear. I wasn't comparing myself to anybody. I wasn't looking for like, what should I be focusing on? Let me go to Instagram and try to tell me to figure it, like what I should be figuring out. Like, no, I went within. I discovered within my own self, okay? Because I have all the answers up in here. I don't need Instagram to tell me. That was one of the best best things I could have done. Now, granted, my social resume went down significantly. It's a struggle even now to get back on social media and like be present, because I'm just so used to like being like, I'm good. My life is fabulous and I'm just living it like on my terms and my way. But I'm also rediscovering how I want to present myself now on social media going forward. And I love how you talk about how you present yourself with just telling your truth and your story, because so many people resonate with that.
Yeah, it's needed. And I have something I want to say before I get your opinion on something, but I have noticed as a coach that a lot of women struggle with purpose and position. So they feel like the only way that they find purpose is by living out a specific position. But at the end of the day, you can assign purpose to any position, right? Like the woman that you are, your life's mission, what you want to be, you can be in any position. If you sit in this chair, or if you sit in that couch, or if you're standing over there, your purpose doesn't change. Your positioning did. But that's something that I think, again, the identity issue, it's very common. It makes sense, it's relatable as humans. I think it's very natural. But that was something I had to go back to and tell myself, like, I don't need to be the founder and owner and CEO of a company to hold purpose.
Okay.
Like, my purpose is what it is, whether I'm over here, I'm over there. So just want to say that. But I had talked to Cece about this and I was like, I cannot wait to have Monica on because I need her advice. So I want to talk about boundaries for a second, because I have had major anxiety lately over so many amazing women wanting to hang out and spend time with me. And I think this happened when I closed my old community, because we're prepping for the launch of the Relationship Restored community. And so I had this space where I had hundreds of women here that could, deal with me, see me, and spend time with me on a regular basis. And I closed that community, and then all of the DMs flooded. And then Dre and I were in all these different rooms, meeting amazing people, exchanging social medias, exchanging phone numbers. And I just got so overwhelmed with the amount of people who are like, Bre, it was so nice meeting you, girl. Let's hang out. Here's my info. When are you free? Let's grab lunch. And so I have like multiple, like 20 to 30, no lie, at this exact moment, who are like, let's hang out. When can we do this? When can we do that? And I have still my very close friends, right, who like, I have to make time just to spend time with them and their kids and their families. And so they are priority. And then my husband is priority. And then at the end of the day, I want to spend time by myself,
Yes.
So I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, I don't really want to hang out with people during the week because it'll mess up my morning and evening routine. And then you have the weekend, which is really just Saturday, because Sunday is the day for myself. So I'm like, how do I nicely tell people, like, love you, sis, love you up and down, but you're not someone I'm able to prioritize in this season? I don't know what to say, because anything I come up with doesn't sound nice, and it's not nice to tell someone like, I don't have time for you, but it is real. And it's a boundary that for me, I'm struggling with right now. So like, what is your advice? How do you deal with so many people wanting to take up your time and energy, and you wanting to spend time with them, but not being able to?
Yeah, I mean, it's your truth, like, you're kind. Being nice it's cool and all, but like, you're a kind person, and being kind to someone is telling them the truth.
Yeah.
And I would make it more about you rather than them.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. It's like, I just know myself. It wouldn't be the level of quality time that I would hope to have with you. And so my goal is to eventually have a communal space where all of us can kind of get together, mix and mingle. Maybe you can come to this event that we have going on, XYZ, and we can carve out a few minutes to have some time together. But, you're worthy of time to yourself, and you want to be able to give the best of yourself to the moments you're spending with others. And that can't happen without boundaries.
So basically, we need to launch this community as soon as possible.
So not even that. So you need to launch it when it makes sense.
Exactly.
Launch it when it makes sense. But that's the thing, is like, there's this big wide world of possibilities out there. And I think sometimes we get stuck in the possibilities of all of it without recognizing really the deep mission and keeping that mission and that vision, like right here with the blinders on. If someone doesn't fit into that at the time frame, if it's supposed to be, they will fit in somewhere. And when it comes down to it, when someone is asking you for your time, they're looking for benefits for themselves too. They need to understand, like, okay, well, the same way that I want this from this person socially, it's just the same as when I want to go to the doctor. There's a procedure to get there, and there is an investment that needs to be made. So if you invest checking in again in a month, hopefully there will be time.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not on us always to have space for people.
Yeah. Whew, thank you for that. That was a selfish question because, girl, I really just needed some input because it is a newer struggle of mine.
I can only imagine. Like, I mean, I was part of your community, so like it was so beautiful. It was inspiring. So give you your flowers now. But what I will say about communities is that their purpose is to create connections, and you have to nurture those connections how you can, which matches your own lifestyle.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, whether you're going to a group class or you're a part of an online community, your conversations that you have offline or with specific individuals are the ones that you would nurture and carry on for life. It's not going to be that community forever. Not in anything.
Okay.
I'm like, look, we could be here all day.
We absolutely could.
I will say, though, I have one final request of you. Can you please let our girls know what mental health resources you have, regardless of where they are in their mental health journey, anything that you feel could be helpful and beneficial on that journey?
So, yeah, we talked about community, right? But keep in mind that it all starts, just like you said, Cece, you have all of the answers within you. And so better acknowledgement of self, better self-embrace, that's where it starts. We talked earlier about like, what can I listen to when I'm trying to do my meditation and stuff? I love being able to just sit and do meditative practices, but sometimes meditation really just creates a stage for our thoughts to overtake us, and then we become more of a character in the story than the actual like main event. And so you might want to do an activity instead. So get active, go for a walk, draw, do something that allows you to focus on doing something rather than processing information. And that's going to give you that, it's going to create that staircase where you can take that first step and then that next step. But resource wise, I love the practice Moksha Living. It is a Black women owned therapist practice. So that's where I found my therapist. There are a couple of really great therapists that are there. If you're looking to have conversation with someone, I would definitely recommend there. As far as active meditation, journaling is always going to be at the top of my list. And my sister got me this amazing journal for Christmas. It's called Better Every Day, From Inside Then Out. And the journal is by this amazing Black woman named Nia Jones.
Okay.
So the prompts on this thing are incredible. The first, month, it goes through every single day. So you just get in, it takes 5-10 minutes and journal. And the first month, I'm still on, obviously, because it's January, for one more day. It's self-discovery. And then you go into relationships, and every month has something to offer you more from a self-learning process rather than I'm solving a problem. It really challenges you to get expansive and think more intellectually about yourself, which is really cool. So you got journaling, obviously getting community therapy, and then I really love the Open app. Something that you can do in the immediate if you're feeling overwhelmed, whether it's in a social environment, you've experienced a microaggression, you are feeling panic, feeling anxiety, is box breathing. Have y'all done box breathing?
Yes.
So breath work is our body's ability to take the steering wheel and take control of our stress response. And so it's 4 counts in, 4 count hold, and then 4 counts out. So we can do it together. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So feel free to close your eyes. When you sit up nice and tall, you're going to allow yourself to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Then we're going to hold it, and then we're going to release it through our mouth. All right. So we're going to inhale through our nose for 4, 3, 2, and hold it for 4, 3, 2, and then release it from the mouth. Deep sigh. 4, 3, 2, 1. And in that 12 seconds, life slows down, right? So try to do it 4 times. And someone doesn't even need to know that you're doing it when you're on public.
Right.
Or you can just go to the restroom real quick and do it. But what that does is it allows our stress response to calm, and then we can make a decision. decision fatigue is one of the biggest things that health coaching, wellness coaching, our goal is to eliminate decision fatigue. Mm-hmm. How can we make making choices easier so that you can feel more freedom within your everyday life? So you've got breathing, breathwork app, you got therapy, you got journaling or doing an activity, and then of course getting out in community and making connection. But it's so simple. It's not always easy, but get the first steps in and then go from there.
Yeah. Let's give Monica some snaps. Because
snaps to y'all.
That breathing, that was nice. Now, Monica, let us know how we can stay in touch with you if someone's interested in working with you, all the things. Monica Jones.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to just embrace the local community, which has been dope. I coach over at Work DC. One thing we need is strength training, no matter what. Structurally, our bones need to be more minerally dense. We need to create muscle around our joints so that we can better support them. We can continue to be tall in our age, whatever reason you have for getting physically active. I love that I have a space to actually be coaching people in person. But of course, you can find me on Instagram and all channels at Train with Mon. HLS Collective is our community, and I'm really looking forward to just continuing conversations like this. So I'm not against the DMs and just really being able to connect with others. So,
girl, Monica, it was a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure. Can we get like a little?
I'm like, do we have to go? I don't. Wow. Thank you so much for coming and for your time and for your energy and for these curls, you know. We're going to hop off of here and we're going to have some fun behind the scenes and get some cute photos. So, peace to the
Goodbye.